Okay. On that note, Gevach, we saw a shita of Rav Huna that Rav Huna said when you go ahead and you sell, you sell a saw of grain, right? You sell a saw of grain. The Mishnah said that up to 1/24th is acceptable, but anything more than that, you'd have to go ahead and diminish. Rav Huna was of the opinion once the guy went over the 1/24th, either it's a din or a kanas, that you take away all of it, right? In other words, you don't go back to 1/24th, you go back to 100% of the grain. That's what Rav Huna said. So we've been asking questions and or bringing proofs to Rav Huna. So we're continuing that on Sadik Dalid Amud Beis, Sadik Tashma. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines to the bottom. Tashma, Meseifa. No, we did. Excuse me. No, we're Tashma 4 lines up. Tashma. The Tani Rovin Bar Rav Nachman. Now, what over here we're discussing is a person went ahead and he sold a base core, which is 30 saw, the base core, and he said, well, you know what, a little more, a little less. So if it's a quarter per saw, so 30 times a half, it's like 7.5, 30 times a half, that's acceptable. 30 times a half is acceptable. Anything more than that is not acceptable. It's 31 quarters would not be acceptable. So Tashma, the Tani Rav Bar of Nachman, he doesn't only go ahead and give back the extra quarter, the 31st quarter, all 30 he has to give back. Alma, when you have to go ahead and go back, Kula Mahader, you go back everything, which is Rav Huna's din, right? That's what is din. When you go ahead and make adjustments for going overboard, you don't go ahead back to the minimal amount, the whole thing. And therefore, over here, you're not going to go back to 30, which was acceptable. You're going to go back and give back all 31 quarters in this case. So, and for the Gemara Hachashta, Hasam hein chasa hein yasser. When he sold it, he said a little more and a little less. When he sold it over here, he said it's a little more and a little less. The Meicha told the Kaina, right? So therefore, mihu revia loy chashiv, a revia, again, that amount of 30 revia is not chashiv. Yes, revia chashiv, but more than the revia would be chashiv. In other words, going over that amount gives the chashivas to the full amount. I can skip the next few words, but over here, just chashiva ba'apei nafshei v'hadra. In other words, it's not comparable to the case of 1/24th of a kav kavim in a saw that was acceptable, because again, a person's meichel up to a certain point, and then once you go overboard, you go back to the point of mechila. Mashenkin over there, once you go to 31, it's a davar chashiv. Once it's a davar chashiv, you're going to return the whole thing, but you have no raya to Rav Huna. Toshma, let's bring a raya to Rav Huna from the din of Ainah. Now, what's the din of Ainah? We know this by heart already. If it's more than a sixth, it's a mekach tois. Less than a sixth is mechila. Exactly a sixth, then the deal is still on, and you go ahead and you return the sixth. Good. Now, Toshma, Ainah pachas mishtus, nikne, less than a shus, the deal is on, nikach mekach. Yoisem ishtus, more than the shtus, batal mekach. Shtus, exactly a shtus, kaina, umachsoina. Amai, lahadar ad pachas mishtus, right? So why don't we just go back, what, in the last two cases, fellas, in the case of where it's exactly a shtus, or it's more than a shtus, where you're going back the whole, you're not going back a little bit to make it less than a shtus, in the case of a sixth. You're not going back where it's more of a shtus to less than a shtus. You're going back the whole way. You're taking away the whole thing, right? You're saying the mekach is batal, or you're saying that you return the whole amount that you overcharged. So what do you see? A raya to Rav Huna. Shmamina, kol hechad deboy ladure, kula mahader. You return the whole thing. Says the Gemara, you have no raya to Rav Huna. Hachi hashta. Hasam meikara shava b'shava amalei. Over there, it was supposed to be exactly the set amount. I went ahead and I charge you this, I was paying you for this amount, and I expected to get that amount. Miu, pachas mishtus, lo yedia, b'mana, umachal finish. People don't discern that a little bit of amount, and therefore they're moichel. Shtus, yedia, a sixth exactly, they do know that if they're being overcharged. Lo moichel, finish. Yes, mishtus, mekach toisu ubatel mekach. More than a shtus, ubatel mekach. But over here, again, over here is not pshat, you don't know. This is the acceptable amount. 1/24 of a saw is the acceptable amount of kavim, of tinaifis, of schmutz, or question the schmutz or the kidneys mixed in. That was the acceptable amount. So you go a little bit above that, you go back. Mashen came over there, the whole deal is contingent upon you not knowing it all. So once you do know, then the deal is off, unless you go ahead and take away the part that you were overcharged, because I know I was overcharged. Toshma. You have got a job. You accept you're going to plant 100 trees. You're going to plant 100 trees. Out of the 100 trees, 10 trees will not bear fruit. 10 trees will not bear fruit. That sale is on. But if you get to 11 trees, then then you're going to go ahead and you don't go ahead and say get rid of all one tree. All the trees, you have to plant the whole field again. So what do you see? You see a right to Rav Huna. The fact when you go back, right, you're going back on the whole thing. So I'm Rav Huna, Rabbi Yeshua, Kol Yesami Kan Kibolita Mitchila Dami. When you went ahead and you have this field, you made a deal with the guy and said the following: I'm going to go ahead and plant 100 trees. 10 trees is acceptable. Once it's not 10 trees anymore, when I plant again, it's like the whole deal starts over again. You get the whole field because that was your deal. Once it's more than 10, the deal is totally off. And therefore, the first tree you plant, it's not that you take away one tree and now the deal is back on. Once you have a big expanse of land, you weren't Mekayim it. You were not Mekayim your words of 100 trees because only 10 is acceptable. 11's not. Mashenkin over here, where you went ahead, the deal was totally on. You thought you're going to get 1/24th, so there it's different. The bottom line, after all is said and done, you were not able to slug up Rav Huna, nor were you able to go ahead and bring a proof to Rav Huna. Again, Rav Huna's din was, once you go ahead and cancel the guy, once the deal is off, any extras are gone. And you don't go back and say, well, let's go adjust it to the level of what it was. Okay, the next Gemara is a bit difficult, but Baruch Hashem, I have a really good chart that I'll share with you, and things work out well. Right? We're going to see Bez Hashem. So we said in the Mishnah, a martiv shel yayin, a cellar of wine. You have a cellar of wine. So if you have 100 barrels, you're makabel 10 bad barrels of wine. If you have 100 barrels, 1/10 of those barrels are going to be what? Bad wine. That's what the Mishnah said. So again, very important. You're makabel 10 bad barrels. Hechi dami. Now there's 3 possibilities of what the guy said. Let's do it. Let's do it in the chart. Here's the 3 possibilities. We could see this chart. Yes, no, maybe we could see this chart. Yes.
Yes.
Good. Now, 3 possibilities. The guy said, "Martiv shel yayin ani moich, a seller of wine I'm selling to you." He didn't say a specific one. He said a general term. A martiv, a seller of wine I'm selling to you. Or he could have said, Martiv zeh shel yayin ani moich. This particular martiv, this particular seller I'm selling to you, right? And he says wine, or he says martiv zeh ani moich. I'm selling you this martiv, the seller, but he doesn't say wine. So guys, in this he doesn't say zeh. In this he doesn't say zeh. In this he says zeh. In this he doesn't say wine. Good? Guys, you saw the 3 chalukim? Now, here's what the Brisa says. It says, in this case, if you say, I'm selling you a cellar of wine, the guy can expect a full cellar of good wine. Yayin shekula yafa. Yayin that's all good. Listen to what you said. I'm selling you a cellar of wine. If he says this martiv I'm selling to you, then even if it smells like vinegar, but it tastes like wine, which the Gemara calls yayin nimcha b'chanus, you'll have to accept it. even if it's not the best wine, you'd have to accept it. Why? Because you said martiv zeh shel yayin. You fulfilled the condition. It's this martiv and it's wine. However, if you say martiv zeh ani meichlecha, you didn't say wine, then if it's vinegar, he would have to go through with that sale. Good? Because he said, I'm selling you this. He never mentioned wine. Now, the Gemara wants to know, okay? The Gemara wants to know, in our Mishnah, notice, fellas, none of those cases was our Mishnah. What did our Mishnah say? Our Mishnah said 10 beard bottles, 10 beard barrels. Again, you had three choices there. Either totally good wine, all not good wine, but still wine, or all vinegar. But you didn't get the option of what? 90 good ones and 10 not good ones. That wasn't an option. So the Gemara has a problem with that brisa. Good? That's good. I'm going to try to fit in the Mishnah. Let's see it inside. Now, Hechi Dami. Ida Amalei Martiv Shel Yayin Stam. The first case we said Kasha. Ida Amalei Martiv Zeh Shel Yayin Kasha. Ida Amalei Martiv Zeh Kasha. And guys, you'll see here's the kasha right in front of you. Guys, the kasha is right in front of you. Our Mishnah is this case. Yayin, that's all good, and you makabel 10 beard barrels. In this brisa, none of that is right. This is shver, this is shver, and this is shver. None of them, that option is not there at all. That option is not there at all, says the Gemara. Now we're going over. Titania. Mativ shel yayin ani moichlecha. This is the chart. Noisin lo yayin shekuli yafa. If you said, I'm selling you a cellar of wine, you didn't say zeh, then you have to give him 100 good barrels of wine. Now he says, martiv zeh shel yayin ani moichlecha. This particular martiv of yayin I'm selling to you, the noisin lo yayin animcha bechanus. You can go ahead and it's wine that is available for immediate use. You could sell it. Right? They used to sell it on the street corners, whatever. No, they didn't. They sell it in the stores right away. No, it wasn't put away for the storage. So it could be vinegar smelling, but if it tastes like wine, it's wine. And the third case, martiv zeh ani moichlecha, and you didn't mention yayin. Afilu kula chaim etzigiu. Afilu kula chaim etzigiu. So guys, we have a problem. What did you say? None of those three cases matched our Mishnah. And for the Gemara, lo oilam damalei martiv shel yayin stam. In other words, this is what he said. He said, column 1. He said, Martif shel yayin ngalacha. Now, when you say over here, yayin shekuli yafa, v'tani bereisha de brisa umekabel of esa kaisoyis l'meya, and just add these words, umekabel of yayin kaisoyis l'meya. Add those words over here. Yayin shekuli yafa, but it's acceptable that 10 barrels won't be good. Add those words, and that would explain our Mishnah. So that our Mishnah speaking this case, you said a martiv of yayin I'm selling you. You get all this plus you get this. Now we're going to have a Steven brisa. So we have pshat in our Mishnah. Now we're going to bring in a second brisa, and that second brisa is going to be problematic in this case over here. Good. In this case over here, this case is the first brisa. This is the second brisa. Rabbi Zvid in the name of Rabbi Shaya. This they agree upon. This you have a problem with. Here we have in the first brisa saying yayin that's sold in the chanus, and here we have yayin that you have to give him 90 good barrels and he makabel 10 barrels. Okay, so that's going to be the problem. Okay, let's see the Gemara. Umistam mi makabel, mistam you sell yayin martiv shel yayin stam. Does he have to accept 10 beer barrels? Aiva hatani rebchia hamoicha chavis. This is excuse me. I jumped the gun, guys. I jumped the gun. Here, the case is the following. He sells him a barrel of wine. Now, there's no havamina that what? The havamina, he has to add if in the barrel, he would have to take out 9, let's say 10 altogether, 9 good cups and 1 bad cup. Says the Gemara, you have to give 10 good cups. So what's the difference between a barrel? What's the difference between a martif? So you know the difference. Shiny chavius the kula chad chamrahu. It's chavius different because it's all in one barrel. Over there, the martiv is separate barrels. Over here, it's one barrel. You can't go ahead and expect him to go ahead and give you 9 good cups and one not good cup. Now, here's the stira. But Tani Reb Zvid debate Rabbi Shia, martiv shel yayin ani moichlecha, noisin yayin shekuli yafa. Okay, again, this is our chart, guys. This is the second brisa. Here it is. So the first one, yayin, martiv shel yayin nimoich lecha, yayin shekuli yafa. You have to give him yayin, that's good. Martiv zeh shel yayin nimoich lecha. Case number 2, martiv zeh shel yayin nimoich lecha. Noisen lo yayin shekuli yafa. Umakabel alav esa kasaisus lameya. There you go. Good. And finally, Amid Beis, v'zeu oitzer sheshanu chacham mishmaseinu. When they say an oitzer, a treasure house or storage, that's what I mean. So therefore, now we didn't have this case. Martiv zeh ani moich, right? We just had the first 2. Okay. Says the Gemara, Ella masnisa nami da'am alei zeh. 1 second. Ella masnisa nami da'am alei zeh. Ella, our Mishnah must be speaking where you said zeh. In other words, fellas, look at the chart, please. We said in the first case, it's this case where he said martiv shel yayin ani moich lecha, right? He didn't say zeh. And we added the words yayin shekuli yafa. Guys, look at the chart. And we added the words umakabel lav yud. Okay. He's bringing in this brisa, and in this brisa it says openly yayin shekuli yafa umakabel lav yud kasaisis, which is our Mishnah. So now we're changing gears and saying it's not this case of our Mishnah where we had to stick those words in. It's this case of the Mishnah. We said martiv zeh shel yayin ani moich lecha. Not this case number 1, case number 2. Case number 2 fits the bill. Yayin shekuli yafa umakabel lav yayin kaisis lameya. And now you're not stuck putting in words that are not there, correct? It says openly over here. So our Mishnah is speaking yayin zeh. Ella maslisa, back in the Gemara, second line. Ella maslisa nami, our Mishnah also, the amalei zeh. You said zeh. Good? Okay, now guys, what's in front of us? What's the kasha? Kasha zeh al zeh. The zeh in the first brisa and the zeh in the second brisa. The zeh in the first brisa, you could sell them yayin, that could be sold to the chanus. In the second brisa, you need 90 good barrels and 10 bad ones. How do you explain the 2? Says the Gemara, like kasha. Had amalei lemikba. You said I need wine for cooking. Had loy amalei lemikba. The Rav Zvid amalei lemikba. Brisa the loy amalei lemikba. Good. So now I put it on top over here. Rav Zvid's brisa, you said I'm selling you this wine for cooking, and over here you did not say cooking. Good. You just said this wine. So when you said for cooking, it elevates it. I can't accept vinegar smelling wine for cooking. It's got to be good wine. But over here, where you said this martiv of wine, this fits the bill. It's not for cooking, but it's wine. Says the Gemara. Back inside, guys. The Reb Zvid, the Amalei Lemikba. The case of Reb Zvid is speaking where you said for cooking. Brisa, our first brisa, the Loy Amalei Lemikba. Hilkach, martiv shel yayin, v'amalei lemikba. If it's a martiv of wine and you say I need it for cooking, nice and low, yayin shekuli yafa. You give him wine, again, wine that's totally good. Martiv zeh shel yayin v'amalei lemikba. I said for cooking, nice and low, yayin shekuli yafa umakabel of es kasaisos lameya. Now, martiv zeh shel yayin. This case, martiv zeh shel yayin v'loy amalei lemikba. And you did not say lemikba, nice and low yayin hanimcha bechan. Not mine zeh shel yayin over here. V'loy amalei lemikva, nice and low yayin hanimcha bechanos. Then you can give him yayin that's nimcha bechanos. Good. Okay. Now the question is this case lemikba or not? Martiv shel yayin ani moich lecha. What's the din? Now, fellas, zeh is a chesarin. The word zeh is a chesarin. The word mikba is a maila. Fellas, eye contact. Eye contact. When you say yayin's martiv zeh, that's a chesarin, because whatever that is, you're limited to that. The word mikba is letevusa. It's for a maila, because since it's for cooking, it's got to be top quality. Good? So now, in this case over here, in this case over here, he didn't say anything. Martiv shel yayin ani moich lecha. Now, if it's not lemikba, but you don't have zeh. If it is lemikba, then you have every milah, right? You don't have zeh, and you just have lemikba, right? So this is the case. Iboylahu. Martiv shel yayin v'layom lemikba. So you don't have the chesaron of zeh, but you don't have the milah of mikba. Again, you zetstein this first brisa, the loy amalei lemikba, correct? So now, over here, this brisa, what would the din be? You don't have the chesaron of zeh, you didn't say zeh, but you didn't say lemikba either. So what would the din be? Mai. So it says the Gemara, pligi bar avachav ravina. Chad Omar, one says, mikabel, you makabel the yud kosoisos, the 10 bad barrels. The Chad Omar lay makabel. Okay. Man the Omar makabel, the one who says you have to accept it. Dayik midrev zvid. We die from the zvid. Diktani, martiv shal yayin ani moichlecha, noisin cha yayin shekuli yafa. V'kimno the Omar lay lemikba. Guys, look at this case over here. Okay, line number. Guys, is this clear? You can see this is very clear. Is it clear or not so clear? Whatever it is, it is. I mean, should I make it bigger? I don't know. Okay, now watch. Over here, in this case, here's Ashayla. This martiv of yayin I'm selling you, you're getting all good wine. But you know why you're getting all good wine? Because you said lemikba. So you had every milah going for you. You didn't say zeh, which is a chesaron, and you said mikvah, which is a milah. So when you have both milas, then you get 100% barrels of good wine. But over here, where you just said you didn't have a chesaron of zeh, but you didn't have a milah of mikvah. Guys, look at the lashon over here. The loy amal mikvah. So therefore, he's medayik that over here you're not going to get totally good wine. You're going to have to accept 10 beer barrels. You're going to have to accept, in this case, you're going to have to accept 10 beer barrels. Why? Because you didn't have the milah of mikvah. So see the lashon again one more time. The one who says that you have to makabel, first white line, dayik min Rav Zvid, is medayik from Rav Zvid's brisa. Diktani, martiv shal yayin ani moichlecha, a martiv of wine I'm selling you, noisin lo yayin shekuli yafa. You have to give him wine that's totally good. V'ukimna, and we're zetzing yain, the amalei lemikba. You said the milah of its lemikba. Taima the amalei lemikba. The reason why it's good, the reason why you get 100% good wine is because you said I need it for cooking. Halay amalei lemikba, like this brisa, you didn't say lemikba. Makabel, you have to makabel 10 beer barrels. Guys, are we good? I'm not getting much of a feedback. I mean, you see that, and again, over here, 100% is only going to say lemikba. Over here, you didn't say lemikba. Therefore, you have to accept 10 beer barrels. Umanda amalei makabel, the one who says we're not makabel, meaning you don't have to accept 10 beer barrels, dayik mi brisa. He's medayik from our brisa. Diktani martiv shal yayin ani moichlecha, noisin lo yayin shekuli yafa. V'ukimna de lo yamalei lemikva. Good. So this case, guys, right? Martiv shal yayin I'm selling you, yayin shekuli yafa, and you didn't say mikva. So you don't have to go over here to make a diak. Read the brisa literally. As long as you didn't say zeh, you're good. As long as you didn't say zeh, you're good. Fed the Gemara, amalei lemikva. Ulaman the dayak mit Rav Zvid. Kasha brisa. Guys, you're medayik over here, this. Guys, look. You're medayik over here, mikvah, then you get. What about over here, this brisa? Our brisa says here over here, you get 100%, even though it's not mikvah. What does this brisa do with this brisa? What does this brisa do with this brisa? And for the Gemara, the Mishnah's missing words of Achikatani. When do you get 100% wine and not 10 beer barrels? The amalei lemikba. That's when you said lemikba. Amalei lemikba. If you didn't say lemikba for cooking, mekabo, then you have to accept 10 beer barrels. Umartiv zeh shal yayin, amalei lemikba. And if you say martiv zeh shal yayin, ani moichlecha, I'm selling you a martiv of yayin, then what? Then you can go ahead and sell the smelly vinegar wine. Okay, the one who said over here, it's kasha from over here. After all, it's mashba only when you have the milah of mikvah do you get 100%. But if you don't have the milah of mikvah, then you don't get 100%. And for the right, says the Gemara, halayam le'lemikvah mekabel who says Gemara who adin the afal gab halayam le'lemikvah. Even though you didn't say for cooking, you didn't say lemikvah, you still get 100%. Right? Lemikabel. You don't have to go ahead and accept 10 beer barrels. The haido kimna the amle lemikvah. Why? It's the reason we just said lemikvah. Mishum the kasha is because we had a kasha this one on this one. In other words, why was the reason for the teretz and mikvah and this and that? We wanted to answer over here, guys. We want to answer this case. Martiv zeh shel yayin ani moich. So we said this is speaking lemikvah. Since you said the word lemikvah you needed for cooking, you have to accept this. If you didn't say for cooking and you said zeh, then you get as it is, as long as what is it's wine. Even though it's not great wine, but it's wine. So the reason we said lemikvah, not lemikvah, was for case number 2. Case number 1, afilu delayam lemikvah, it will make a difference. So he's medayik what from over here. He's medayik what from over here. Okay, Bez Hashem.